Hi, I'm Jay Congdon. I'm Victoria's older brother. I am a U.S. Navy veteran. In 7 years, I was diagnosed with schizoaffective bipolar disorder. And it's been a rough life since then.
How would you define happiness?
Happiness. That's a rough question. Happiness is the understanding of joy and living in a state where you feel comfortable with yourself and those around you, and you're able to embrace the world in a way that you feel accepted and loved.
What makes you happy?
My daughter is the joy of my life currently. Outside of that, working, keeping myself occupied and motivated to wake up every day.
What are some steps you take to feel happy?
I take my medications, go to therapy, and just work towards being happy. Happy is a state of mind that I'm not most familiar with.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 5.
What do you like to do with her?
I like to take her to the park, play games with her, sit and talk with her. Pretty much everything a normal dad would do.
What's one of your favorite memories with her?
My favorite memory. I have a photo on my phone of her. She was sitting in the fridge eating cheese and holding Pepto-Bismol.
Tell me a story about a time you were purely, unadulteratedly happy.
I'd have to say it was when I was in high school, and it's all really vague. A lot of my memories not the best it should be due to medications and the disorder. But I had a girlfriend. I did what I wanted to do. I didn't have anything holding me back. And I guess I was happy.
What is a quote or mantra you live by?
A quote or mantra I live by. Believe in people and the goodness in them. It's more based off Eastern philosophy and the understanding that every person has a good core to them. It's the belief that everybody is born good and loving and caring, and the world has effects on them that cause them to veer in different directions.
What is a song that makes you happy?
There's a song by a band called Congdon called Mother Superior, and it's about difficulties in life and overcoming them.
What is a song that makes you sad?
How Far I'll Go
From Moana?
from Moana. Specifically, it sent me into a psychiatric breakdown.
What makes you sad?
Lots of things. When I'm majoritarily sad when I'm not able to communicate with my daughter or spend time with her. But there are several things in the world that can make you sad. Predominantly when I hear voices or when I see things that aren't really there. The voices are usually very negative and down-putting. And things that aren't there tend to be off-putting as well. It's like we are trained our entire lives to believe one way, that everything that we see is permanent and exists. Now, throw in the idea that your dreams are reality, that the monsters that scare you and the things that go bump in the night exist in my mind, essentially. My major episode was schizophrenia. I was taking a test for my nursing degree that I was working on at one point, and I bombed it. It was bad, and something snapped, and I stood up, walked out of the building, no clue this was going on, and I had to be stopped before I got in my car because it was clear to see that I wasn't okay. And that led towards a lot of negative things that happened in my life that made me very sad.
When you see things, what are you seeing?
That's a question I don't usually like to answer. It brings actualization to inanimate things, things that aren't there. I see people. During that episode, I was driving to the hospital, and my mother, who had been dead for 7 years, maybe more, showed up sitting next to me in my truck, asking me how I'm doing. And that's just one instance. That's the only time I've ever seen her as an actual personage, though. I do hear her voice sometimes.
What makes you anxious?
Stress. Stress is my main trigger for the disorder. Severe amounts of stress can send me into psychiatric episodes, and it's really hard to describe exactly what makes me anxious because it's triggers and things that predominantly wouldn't bother other people, but they bother me.
Do you have any regrets? And if so, what are they?
I have lots of regrets. I regret that I'm not able to be a nurse. I regret that I've been in school for the better part of 6 years and I haven't graduated. I regret that my relationship with my daughter is never going to be a normal relationship with my daughter. Mainly because I deal with issues that majority of the people in the population don't deal with.
Earlier in the interview, you said you were on medication. Do you want to go more into depth about what being on those is like versus being off your meds?
I will say I will not talk about the exact medications that I'm on. First, I'll talk about the positive side effects of it. It reduces the amount of auditorial and visual hallucinations I have. Those can range from physical manifestations of objects and people to delusions and the idea that when I'm having delusions, I view them as a superior being. That's one of my main delusions. I'm a superior individual to the rest of everybody else. I have powers. I'm capable of manipulating other people fairly easily. And the meds stop that. They don't stop the auditorial hallucinations. I have a constant whisper that exists in my life. It's really hard to focus and really hard to maintain specific conversations because they're there. But I'd rather have those than full-blown voices yelling, commanding, telling me things I shouldn't be doing or reminding me of things I've done in my past. But while I'm on the meds, those don't happen. Some positive side effects of the medication. That's what those are. The negative side effects of the medication is that my thinking is fogged. I made mediocre to okay grades. I didn't struggle when it came to mathematics before I was on my medications. I didn't struggle when it came to socializing with people, and when it came to dealing with people, it came easy to me when I was off my meds. On my meds, I'm a more reserved person. I don't like the things I used to like. I used to dance all the time. I used to play games and draw, and I was artistic and articulate, and that's gone for me now, and I have to accept it. Because if I'm not on the meds, I'm a danger to myself and others possibly.
So you said you're also in therapy.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about what that's been like?
Therapy varies. There's times when I need weekly sessions. There's times when I need monthly sessions. But I would recommend therapy to everyone. Doesn't matter if you have a mental disorder or not. Doesn't matter if you think your life is perfect. Going to therapy isn't just trying to fix a problem. It's talking to a open party that has no influence on your life. It's a very positive thing to do.
Who do you like better? The Jay that's off meds or the Jay that's on meds?
That's a tricky question. I like my actions. Or not really my actions. I like my ability I have off medication. I like the ability to have fun and dance and be this loving and caring person that I thought I was. But on the meds, I can still be loving and caring, but in a different way. So there's aspects of both J's, as you might call it, that have their ups and downs, but I prefer myself on the medication than off of it.
Have you ever tried doing art stuff or stuff you liked while on meds?
I attempt to paint. I attempt to draw. It's just I can't produce what I think about. It's like a barrier in my brain that I can't perform the way that my mind is wanting to perform. And so I get very put down and I get very angry with myself because I'm not able to do what I want to do.
Do you think there could ever be a time where maybe you get to a place where you enjoy these things despite the hindrances that
Come with the
you
medication?
have? Yeah.
Maybe. There's new advances in science and pharmaceutical advances that could lead to me having a fully functional life.
Well, not even on like your medication aspect, but you even while taking it, you say you don't enjoy these things, but do you think you could ever get to a place where maybe you do enjoy these things even though you're not as good at these things as you were before?
I see no reason why not. It just takes time and effort, really. If I had the time or I had the effort, which I have lots of time and effort due to specific things, eventually I'll get there. It's just not for me right now.
What are some foreseeable goals you have for yourself for the future?
I see myself working a normal job. I see myself falling in love again. Maybe having more kids at some point. It's just, the future is never certain though.
Tell me a story about a sad time in your life.
I would have to say it's around the time of my first hospitalization, after getting diagnosed. I had been thinking about suicide for a really long time, and I had made plans, and I had very specific plans on what to do, and I spent days sleeping. And this was just because the voices and everything was too much, and I couldn't stop it. And I wanted release. And I put myself in the hospital. I got on medications, and I guess I'm doing better, but there's always, that's going to exist with me forever. It's what it is.
Is there anything we didn't get to that you still want to touch upon?
I want to talk about the negative stigma that comes with being schizophrenic or having schizophrenia or having schizoaffective. They're all part of the same spectrum, essentially. Majority of people, when they think of schizophrenics or people with schizophrenia, proper terminology is important sometimes. They think of these people that are homeless and living on the street, and they're talking to themselves or yelling and screaming for no reason, and they're like that because they don't have the support and health insurance and positive influences in their life, or they're resistant to medication. It's not their fault that they're like that. Hell, I could have been that person at some point. I could have been in many different things, but I am what I am today because I have the support and help from a healthcare team, friends and family that a lot of people don't have. And so I'm a lucky one. I get to live a semi-functionable life. I'm capable of driving. There are people out there that can't because they're overwhelmed by the voices and the visions and the feel that comes along with the disorder.
What is the best advice you have ever received from someone?
The best advice I ever received from someone? Probably learning to drive. This person I don't speak to anymore, and I care not to mention their name, but they taught me the most effective life skill I've ever had. The ability to drive has allowed me to explore the world in a way that a lot of people with my disorder don't have.
Are you currently happy?
That's a rigged question. I am currently stable, is the best way to put it. Happiness is a spectrum for me. It's not a singular point. I can work towards it. I can even feel it at times, but it's never a permanent thing. Have fun cutting my ums and blank stares.